Hey, good morning, guys. It's Evan here. It's been a long time since I've seen you guys, and I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna go put out some content today after receiving a request from a friend to talk about a little bit about my story. Uh, so, my story into the red pill side of things. And I've mentioned in a couple of other earlier videos that I've read a number of books and I've listened to a lot of videos and I subscribe to a number of YouTube channels that are kind of male-centered and red pill, to use a better term, I guess. So in these channels, it started off for me. I was married for 25 years, and in the beginning of that relationship, it was actually my second marriage. My first marriage, gosh, I knew the girl for a week, got her pregnant, and then within gosh, 11 months we were married with child, and then divorced a year later. And she ended up marrying her divorce attorney and moving to a place in the country that was so far away. It was just really hard for me to get to. So I really didn't have a relationship with my daughter until many, many years later. And by then she's her own person and believes her own truths. And so it's not the best circumstances for a father-daughter relationship, to say the least. So getting into my second marriage, I was in a state of mind where I was definitely doing what I wanted to do. And when I wanted to do it, I was in a more alpha state of mind, I guess you could say, with beta tendencies. So I knew what I liked. I was not making good money, but I was on a path that satisfied me at the time. And so when I met my second wife, it was kind of it was just, for me, it was just physical, and for most guys it is physical. And she had great legs and a great smile and a great personality, and although the sex side of it wasn't really that great, I thought we could work on it. And we ended up, big mistake number one, we ended up moving in together. Huge mistake. I will never do that again. I will never ever do that again until I'm ready to like marry this person, or seriously take some time to vet her properly. I'll never move in with another female. So made that mistake, and then she didn't want to have kids. We dated for, I don't know, about a year or so. It felt very comfortable to me. Um, we would have sex, but it wasn't like stellar. But the thing about her was that she's Asian, so like going home, she was always into like I want our house to be peaceful. So when we come home, there's no, like, we never fought. We never fought for years and years and years, which was unusual because I grew up in kind of a combative household, and my first marriage was just a complete disaster as far as being not peaceful at all. And so that kind of like, this is why I enjoy peace now, I think. But with my second marriage, it was very much, it was very peaceful, and that went a long way. And she cooked, and our house was fairly clean, and so all that. So fast forward years, on the same career path, I always wanted to like have more, be more, make more money. I invested in some real estate that turned out to be perfect timing in the marketplace. My parents passed away, so I got some money from them and leveraged that into more properties. And so our wealth grew, not just property wealth, but as our net worth grew. And I say our because I made the second big mistake where I put her name on everything against my better judgment. And it was kind of like I remember going into our first signing, and I still had some reservations and trust issues from the first marriage, and I was just going to put my own name on title. I don't know if it would have mattered much really in the end. She probably still would have gotten half of that anyway. But she asked if she could come to the signing, to the closing, the signing of the escrow documents. And so I said, yeah, sure. So she was in the office, and the escrow officer was a female, and she asked me, like, don't you want to put your wife on title? Like, we can make that change right now. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I gave in to that bullshit, man. And instead of staying strong, I looked at her and I said, sure, why not? So from that point on, we were now kind of like halves on bank accounts. It didn't happen overnight, but slowly but surely, as Rich often says on his videos, shout out to you, Rich. He often says like, and I don't know if he or Rollo Tomassi mentioned this in his book. I'm not sure, but it's death. It's you know how the saying is, death by 1,000 cuts. I think it's an Asian thing, but in the Manosphere, it's concession or betatization by 1,000 concessions, and that's pretty much what happened with me. I conceded slowly over time to her demands and wishes, and by the time we're in like year 25, it's a sexless marriage. We are sitting on some properties that are doing well. We weathered the financial collapse in 2008 and 9 and survived it. We were able to keep our properties. We had some major tax liabilities and stuff like that, but we were able to handle it and came out of all that stuff. And in year 25, all of our worth is back. I'm working at home, and because of our relationship and me constantly pushing her over the years to like have some goals, like, why don't you get a better job? Why don't you learn computers? Like, her English got way better. So like my previous employer, my previous boss, needed a Japanese assistant. So I'm like, here you go, here's your chance. She got in there, making good money now. So we're doing good and financially. But other than that, like, she's got no respect in me because I'm staying home. And I've conceded to all the things that she wanted. I no longer like train how I used to train. I stopped doing jujitsu. I stopped doing a bunch of different things. I wasn't as aggressive as I used to be. I didn't stand for what I like. I negotiated with her on various decisions. That kind of shit would have never happened before. But I let it all happen, thinking that this is what a good supportive husband does. So that being said, respect just went down to like nothing. And because there was no respect, now she's a little bit more sassy. She's like rolls her eyes and does stuff like that to me, in public, in front of other people that I'm talking to, like my husband is a piece of shit kind of thing. And we talked about it, and she acknowledged it. She never apologized for it, but she acknowledged it, now that I think about it. So I'm sitting out there one day doing work on our lanai, beautiful day, and I don't know how like it got into my YouTube feed, but like I started hearing some of Rich's stuff come on, and it's all like the hold on, let me get something for you. Hold on. So who I'm referring to is Rich Cooper. And again, shout out to you, Rich. Your videos kind of started me on this whole pathway, man. And so I slowly but surely started listening, and I was like, wow, this guy's pretty interesting, He's saying a lot of truths, and a lot of the stuff he was saying just cracked me up. It was like, this is bomber control, and we're over the target, and I'm going to drop some truth bombs, and you catch the most flack when you're over target and things like that. And I have a military background, so I was like, this is fucking awesome, man. Like, right on. So I started listening to this guy, and I listened to like a lot of his stuff. He's got a series called Before the Train Wreck, and I listened to a bunch of that, and just started really like reprioritizing who I am, what makes me happy, you know, my fitness levels, my financial resources, how I spend my time, who I spend my time with, what brings me happiness and joy and fulfillment and power as a guy. Like, what is it for me to be a man? And so I started thinking about all these things, and the beginning, the genesis of it all was Richard Cooper. Then through him I started like listening to more of Rollo Tomassi stuff. So shout out to Rollo. Read a couple of his books. Then Sean Smith. Then a bunch of others. Alen Roger Curry. You know, he's mode one, baby. You know, like that guy is hardcore mode one. It takes balls to be like that if you're out in the dating scene. But he has different variations of that. So Alen Roger Curry, if you ever hear this, probably not. I'm such a peon in this world, but I mean, you know, in this Manosphere talk. But I've learned a lot from you guys, and I really appreciate it. And there are others. Um, Gosh, there are others, but they're you know, Kevin Samuals is another one that I really enjoy listening to. Very logical. Um, Anyway, so those are some resources for you guys. Go to check out the Fresh Fit podcast. Those guys are hilarious too, but it's kind of the same show in my opinion all the time. But it you can hear from actual women and how they respond to these guys real time, to questions that many of us men have, and why, and they illustrate why women think the way they think and why men and women are so different. So anyway, I digress. So getting back to the story, I'm starting to listen to more and more of Richard Cooper stuff and kind of venturing into other people, and my eyes are starting to open. And at first I was kind of like gosh, kind of struck by it in a way where I was like, I didn't really know what to do because it was so new. And I'm 53. My mom's I'm the youngest, and my mom's generation was a generation where they had the first like women's empowerment stuff going on. So she was born in the 40s, but so she was kind of like old school, but then she was going into like the more professional. So she had her master's degree in nursing and nurse administration and stuff. My dad also had his master's degree, and when I think about it now, I could see that there was constant tension, constant fighting between the two of them. My dad he was the provider. He paid for all the mortgage and like the food and stuff like that. And my mom, there's 4 kids. So my mom would take care of all the sporting stuff and go to the sporting events and all that. And so there was a big age difference between me and the sibling closest to me. So the 3 of them would always go with my mom, and which was kind of like, you know, and they loved my mom because my mom bought them all kinds of shit, you know, like all kinds of like the latest clothes. They did the sports stuff. She supported all their stuff. So I ended up spending a lot more time with my dad, watching him kind of like fix cars and do woodworking and just work in general. He was a graphic artist. I started watching what he was doing and the kind of stuff that for his work. I even went to his workplace a lot. Like after school, I had to go to his workplace because I was small. My mom was too busy. But anyway, so what I'm trying to get to is that there was this dichotomy going on. So on the one hand, um, my mom was more of a modern woman, not as bad as today, not as bad, but yeah, not as bad as today. But she ended up divorcing my dad, as 80% of women file for divorce. It's not the men, it's the women, and taking half of all this stuff. And it was kind of crushing to see. It was sad to see him in a house that he loved, that he paid for, that we all grew up in, with an accumulation of antiques and antique cameras and furniture and things that he just loved, that he worked for, to have to throw those things away because he's downsizing into a smaller house, to lose half of everything he had. There was no child support because we were all older by then, but it was a constant push pull between those two. And what I realize now is that I'm blessed that I was able to hang out with my dad more, because the other three siblings, I won't say anything bad about my brother and sisters, but I just feel blessed that I was able to. I just know how to do more stuff. You know, I know how to fix stuff. I know how to build stuff. I know how to put shit together. I know how to paint, duct tape. I mean, drywall, like tape and spackle and do drywall work. I know how to do basic construction. Plumbing sucks. I can't do plumbing. I hate plumbing. Electrical stuff sucks because I hate getting freaking jolted. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. but but you know, I did learn a lot of stuff. Car stuff too. How to use my hands, draw, how to think. You know. Anyway, so I don't know where I was with the whole story. It's just I feel lucky that I had him, because now that I can reflect on it all, and after listening to the people that I mentioned before and reading their content, and now being out there in the dating area and just meeting new people, meeting new women, man, I tell you, it is hard to, it's difficult. It's very challenging to find women that are not so, for lack of a better word, modern. You know, they're very hypergamous, meaning they I don't know. I get hypergamy is and I hope I get this right, guys, but women reserve the right to change their mind, and they always tend to swing up, monkey branch up to what's going to benefit them most and best, whether it's financial, lifestyle, whatever. So they'll say they don't need no man or whatever, and that's fine. Um, Many of them that I've witnessed, that I've come across, lots of single moms out there, some of whom have sons, and it's like they're looking for another guy to help them raise their kid and pay the bills. And so that's hypergamy in action. You know, they're and my first wife was like that. She married her divorce attorney. Um, you know, we had plans, but you know, whatever. It's all good. Thank God, actually. Married to that girl would have been a nightmare. But for you guys, I don't know. I just wanted to press record today and start talking, to air a lot of this shit out, because I've been thinking about you guys, and I've been thinking about what kind of content I want to do. And a lot of this stuff is very controversial. And fuck it. You know what? It's the truth. And whether women want to acknowledge the current modern style that they have, the feminist style, or not, really doesn't matter, because I feel that men are moving on. And I believe that there are great women out there, you know, especially if they're raised by traditional, like their grandparents, you know, or maybe their fathers. But it's rare. It's rare. I've been asking women out there, if you were to choose between a long-term relationship with a guy, and you had to choose between looks, status, or finances, like money, what would you choose? And some of them will give me a bullshit looks or whatever, but I say no, long term. So if I'm like super hot but broke ass, and you're making, you know, $100,000 a year, you're gonna take care of me? And they're like, oh, no way, no way. So then I go, okay, so what is it? And then some of them will kind of get stuck on the like the financial side, and the differences between like you know, like stature and like the finances, not stature, but status and finances. And this is something that's actually out of I think Kevin Samuels talks about this stuff. And so go check him out on his channel. But invariably, I'd say 90% of them will say money, and that's truthful. On the other hand, if I ask men, 100% of them will say looks. 100%. 100%. Like, no guy that I've ever asked, and I've asked a lot of them, man, if you were to choose a long-term relationship with a woman who is good looking, has status or money, it's like, frick, she needs to be hot. And that's what I think a lot of women fail to realize, is that don't let yourself go, ladies. Like, if you get into a relationship with a good guy, even if he's not making what you think, what you think you deserve, his money, but even if he's not making the kind of money that you think is like amazing, if he's a great guy and you love him, I don't even want to use it, and you think that you could partner with him, stay with him, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, especially if you want to have kids, marry him, but then again, guys decide who they marry. That's a whole nother topic, actually. But yeah, stick to these guys because and don't let yourself go. You end up with a guy like this, and then you end up going out to dinner and it's comfortable, and then you end up putting on a few extra pounds and a few extra pounds, and then you like, shit, I'm getting bigger, and then you end up getting pregnant. It's bad news, man. And then it's like it's the guy's fault that you got pregnant. I don't know, man. You chose to lay down. You chose to open your legs and have sex with this guy. If women are going to choose not to use birth control, and there are thousands of birth control items out there, and guys have like one or maybe two. Yeah, I think there's two for guys. And you end up getting pregnant. Like my first wife, she's like, I'm on the pill, I'm on the pill, I'm on the pill. I didn't control the birth. I didn't wear a condom all the time at all. And she got pregnant. A week later, she's like, oh, I'm pregnant. I'm keeping her. I'm keeping it. So you guys be careful out there. Women, if you're not, like most times people have sex, they want to have casual sex. They're not looking to like meet you and then say, let's have a kid. So, if you are not sure about the guy, why are you ladies having kids with these guys? You control the sex. So, a lot of big topics, man. I've been thinking about these things. I'm just kind of rambling now, but it's food for thought. So, you guys, man, like as I'm out there now, I will always be in control of the birth. I will vet slowly. In other words, I will like take my time to get to know somebody before I even do anything with them. Long-term relationships for me right now, a lot of women say too, I notice, I want a serious relationship. I want a long-term relationship. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And it's like, this is a dating site. You know what I mean? It's a dating site. And they're like, I'm looking for my husband. And for me, when I look at that, I'm like, you're looking for somebody who has money that's going to take care of you. Why don't you just be honest and say that? Especially if you're a single mom. I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, ladies, would you take care of a man and his child with all your resources, time, and money? Like, if the shoe was on the other foot, and I had like 3 kids, or 2 kids, or 1 kid, right? And I was making next to nothing. And like, you're a very attractive woman, and you have a great paying job. You are very independent and strong, independent woman, right? Is what they say nowadays. You're a strong, independent woman. And would you date me? With 3 kids or 2 kids or 1 kid, I'm not making any money, and then take care of me and marry me and provide for me and my kids, or would you go out there and find somebody who's single where you can have your own kids? That's the shoes on the other foot. So, ladies, I think what guys want is somebody who is feminine, who is fun to be around, who's easy to be around, non-argumentative, like cooperative and fit, and enjoys to have sex. Like, if you can do those things, ladies, you will find a guy that is just going to like be the best for you, I think. But then of course, you can't go out with some dickhead out there that's gonna treat you like shit, and those. But there are, and your level of treating like shit might be a guy that says, no, we're doing it this way. That's not treating you like shit. That's being a guy. That's not negotiating. He's not negotiating his decision with you. And if you can't handle that for what you get in provision and time and lifestyle, and if the guy's not a dick, takes care of himself, makes money, he's a high value guy, as they say. I mean, the choice is yours. You can be a strong, independent woman and make your own money, and argue all the time with your husband, and it's rough like that. It's gonna be rougher like that, because guys don't give a shit how much you make, what your degrees are, what your status is. Really, they want peace. Guys want peace. They want sex. They want food. That's pretty simple. Women want money. They want good looks. They want somebody who's gonna take care of them. Provision. Provision is the main thing, I think, for women that I talk to. They want provision, and they might say, "Yeah, I got my own money." Okay, cool. Okay, or they might even say, "You know what? I don't need no man." Okay, great. Go be by yourself, because there's no shortage of beautiful women out there. There really isn't. There's no shortage of single, attractive, babyless moms. There's a lot of them. So anyway, I'm gonna end it on that. The journey continues for me, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it, and I continue to learn, and I'll continue to post. So for my friend out there that wanted to hear my story and kind of where I'm at right now with the whole thing, that's where I'm at, and I appreciate your support. All right. If you haven't liked, and it's kind of long-winded video, but if you haven't liked and subscribed, I appreciate it. If you do, that'd be great. Let me know what you want to hear, and what kinds of topics you want to talk about, and I'll check it out. I'll listen. I'll respond. And the future is bright, guys. The future is bright. All right. Talk to you guys later. Aloha.